Hello, so this is my video for my Algebra 2 honors class on October 17, 2017. We're going to be looking at graphing linear inequalities. Why does the light keep going off? In two variables. Here we go. So first I want to look at this example 1. It says which ordered pair is a solution of 3x plus 4y is greater than 8. So all we really want to do here is plug in the values of 6, -3, 0, 2, -2, -1, and -3, 5 into where x and y are. So what we could do eventually is graph this and see which points work, but for now we're just going to try substituting in. So pause the video, do this yourself. I want you, rather than using this, because this is the conclusion, I want you to plug in your own values and determine that. Go. Pause the video now. Seriously, pause it. Okay, now that you paused it, so first we can put in that ordered pair 6, -3. It's going to go in where the x is. So 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus -12 is equal to 6. 6 is not greater than 8, therefore it is not a solution. And let's do it with the calculator here. So let's pause. So first off, here's our equation. We should write it down like this. What I want you to do is put it into slope-intercept form so that we can actually graph it on a calculator. Go ahead and do that. So we want to isolate y, get x on the other side. Go. All right, so now what we're going to do is go to our calculator. How can I get this camera angle? So I had to relearn this myself. I thought it was a pretty interesting process. So go to your calculator, notice y equals, we want to put something in there, but we don't really have the option of changing this. So all of your calculators should have this. Go to apps, A-P-P-S, mine's purple. From there you want to go down to Inequalities with a Z. Not sure why they do that. Enter. Hit any key. And what it's going to bring us to is the y equals screen, but we're going to have 5 options. So see how it says equals right now? Instead, if I wanted it to say equals, I'd hit y equals. So those on there are going to correspond with each of these buttons. So if I want that, a greater than sign, I want to hit trace. Oops. Let's try that again. So, my bad. So so think of it like on a computer, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Consider like these are the F buttons. So you gotta hit alpha, and then you gotta hit traced for F4, which corresponds with that sign right there. So if you now notice, on my calculator, I have the greater than sign, and also notice over here, that's changed. So what that's gonna do is actually gonna shade in areas. So let's put in the rest of my equation here. Y is greater than -3/4 x. So I'm going to put negative 0.75 and then hit that variable key, x, plus 2. All right, and then let's try graphing it. Ooh, very good. So from here, one thing we can do is we can look to see if those original points that are in our question, which ones are in there. So let's check 6, -3. So 6, -3, we can just use our cursor. Let's go over to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and -3. Ooh, it's going to be right on the edge there. Let's see. Let's try trace. Let's try going this way. 4, 6. We might have to zoom in, or let's try calc. Second, calc. Value. X equals 6. Plug in a 6. Enter. Y equals -2.5. So in terms of our question, which ordered pair is a solution? 6, -3 should not work. And as we see here, it does not work. It's not a solution. Let's check here. So 0, 2, it's saying right here it should not work out. Let's see how it works over here. So if I go over to calc, value, and we click 0, enter, 0, 2. Now, because this is a dotted line, and it's directly on the line, how can we interpret this? Let's see. And if we think about it, we know if we're to plug it into our equation, right? 0 times negative 3/4 plus 2 is going to be 2 is less than or equal to 2. Is less than 2. So we know that it's not going to work out. But ideally, the way you should be able to graph it is that whatever points you're testing should all be in this shaded region. So if you were to graph this out, you should be able to find any coordinates that you want in the shaded region. That's how that works. So that concludes that part. Let's move on to the next one. So we're going to take a second here to look at example 3. It says graph linear inequalities with two variables. So we're going to be doing what we just did on the graphing calculator, but I want you to practice doing it either in your notebooks or on some graph paper. So we're going to follow the steps here. Start out by doing this. I want you to do as much as you can without using this picture. Just kind of erase this from your mind for a second. So write down y is greater than negative 2x and b 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to negative 4 in a coordinate plane. So write down those two and then sketch it out. So pause for a second, go as far as you can, and then chime back in. I want to make sure that these are in slope-intercept form so it's nice and easy for me to graph on paper. So this one is all set, y is greater than negative 2x, and this one not so much. All right, so now I have it in slope-intercept form. Now I'm going to sketch it out. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video and come back. So I'm checking y is greater than negative 2x. So let's just do a quick test. If I had the point 5 here, would it work? 5 in here, 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Is negative 10 less than 5? Yes, it is. Let's do another check. How about 0, 10? 0 is less than 10. All right, so that means I can shade over here. And because this does not have an equal to sign, I want to make sure this is a dotted line right here. All right, so you just start out with the line that you would normally have. If it's not or equal to, draw a dotted line, and then test out a point or two, and let's check. So these should not work. So over here, we get negative 5, negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. Positive 10 less than negative 5? No. Good. So we drew it correctly. Let's do the same thing over here. So again, start with your sketch, pause, and come back. So I started with my y-intercept of 2, and then I gave a slope of about 2.5. So from here, y is greater than or equal to. Because it's greater than or equal to, I can draw a line without any dots in it that's unbroken. And now let's just test out one point. So let's try 0, 0. If I put a 0 here, 2 is less than or equal to 0. 0 is less than or equal to 0. Sorry, I said that wrong. 0 plus 2. 2 is less than or equal to 0. That does not work. Let's check over here. How about negative 5, positive 5? So negative 5 right here. Negative 5 times 2.5 is going to be negative 7.5. Plus 2 is going to be negative 5. Negative 7.5 is less than or equal to negative 5. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Let's try something even easier. How about 0, 3? 0. So 2 is less than or equal to 3. Yeah, I agree with that. So we can
shade in here. All right.
So that's pretty much how it goes, is you want to shade in the side. I usually do at least one test point that I know is going to be on this side. It's easy to find ones that are on the X or the Y axis. Those are nice, easy points to test. Make sure you're doing ones that are not specifically close to here, so it's really clear to you. And you want to do the least amount of computations to confuse yourself. So like that -5, +5 one was a little on the more challenging side to think in my head. You want to do something simple that you can just test. So that's why 0, 2 or 0, 3 was a little bit easier, or 0 anything here, right? 0, 0 I can test out. Those are nice, easy tests to see which ones you want to put there. Something else I just want to test out here is I want to put it in my calculator. So again, I hit apps. I want to go into Inequals. All right, so if you've already done this, you can hit continue. If you want to get rid of that option, you hit quit Inequal. All right, so we're in here. My equation is greater than or equal to. So I want this one over here. So alpha graph, or F5. All right, it's going to change it. It should be positive 2.5. So I'm going to delete that and put 2.5 x plus 2. All right, we already have that. All right, and graph. So it should look similar to mine. What do we think? Does it look similar? I'd say the steepness of the graph is probably a little more pronounced on the calculator, but in the right direction. Looks good. All right, so check your answers by doing it on the calculator. It's a good practice. And we're going to move on to example number 5. So example number 5, graph an absolute value inequality. Graph y is greater than -2 times the absolute value of x minus 3 plus 4 in a coordinate plane. So let's start with this. What we already know how to do is graph that absolute value, and then we'll figure out the inequality piece of it. Go ahead and do that now. Pause the video. No, seriously, pause the video. So a little reminder how we do this. So notice there's no equal to, so we know it's going to be a dotted line. And looking at this is going to determine the direction and the steepness. So normally it goes like this, like a V shape. It's going to be upside down because it's negative. And we know this number in here, the 3, it's going to be 3 this way, and 4 up is going to be our vertex. So I know it's not accurate completely. So we got, that's our vertex right there. And we know it's going to have go in a downwards direction. It's going to be an upside down V, and it's going to be a little bit steeper than your average one. So it'll be something like this.
Whoops, I should have drawn that as a
dotted line, my bad. Hopefully you did not make the same mistake I did. I think that'll suffice to show that it's not equal to. So from there, let's check a couple values. The value right below it. So directly below it is going to be, if we said that this is 3, 4, then directly below it is going to be 3, 0. Let's see. If it's true, then we're going to shade it. If it's not, if we plug in 3, 0, if the statement is true, we're going to shade it. So let's put in 3, and this should come out to a 0. So 3 minus 3, 0. 0 times -2, 0. 0 plus 4, 4. Is 4 less than 0? No. All right, let's try something directly above it. So 3, 5. Let's change that. Actually, we already know it's going to come out to 4, so we know that that's going to be positive. So it should be everything on the outside here. So we can go over to y equals. We still have those up there. So let's see. We want greater than. Over here, remember alpha, I forgot, and then I want it to be -2, and then I want my absolute value, so I go to math, num, abs, and then some people are going to have that. Some people it's actually going to show an absolute value sign, but you just treat it the same way. So x minus 3, and then I can put a parentheses, and then plus 4. All right, so that should work. And I'm just gonna make a prediction here for a second. So I know I definitely messed something up. Let's think about for a second all this stuff out here. So let's check. All right, right before graph.
There we go.
This is a good way to check. So when you're not completely certain, just check points, see whether they work. If they're true, then that's the shaded region. That's the one that you're representing. If it's not true, you should leave it blank over here, like the 3, 0. So that right there is a little tutorial. Yep, came out just the way we had planned. And so I want you to now take a couple practices. So the numbers I want you to do for today are page 135, 3 to 6, which are similar to the first one. You're just testing points. Then 7 to 18 odds. Then 19 to 32, which is going to be some graphing. And then 42 is going to be a challenge. So whatever you don't finish in class is due for homework. I hope this doesn't feel like you're just doing busy work, which I know it often feels like for subs, for when you have subs. And to the substitute, I hope this is helpful. If you need to brush up on some things, you can watch this video yourself. Thank you for watching, students, that you made it all the way here. I might be able to check the comments, or you can contact me via remind or email. I may or may not be checking it during the day. Thank you for watching. Stay weird.